Now that's significant. The Market Research Podcast.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us on this latest episode of Now That's Significant, a market research podcast. This is your host, Michael Howard, the head of marketing at Infotools. Today, we're joined by Elizabeth Oates, a 20-year insights veteran who has proven experience building insights functions to drive business impact. She's created consumer centricity centers of excellence, dramatically grown top-line revenue for multi-billion-dollar retailers, driven innovation for products and experiences, and redefined the strategic role of consumer-based functions to maximize impact. Oates serves as a thought leader for future-proofing the enterprise and the industry, recently penning a book titled More Than Just Interesting: How to Build an Insights Function for Impact. She is a two-time Boston Marathon qualifier, ultramarathoner, and St. Jude Children's Research Hospital hero. Welcome to the show, Elizabeth.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
You're welcome. A hero at St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital sounds interesting.
Well, it's an important mission that I'm just glad to be a part of in helping serve children and finding cures for cancer to give them an opportunity to live their life to its fullest.
No, well done. So we like to start the show with something related to the name of our podcast by you sharing the most significant thing that you're going to share with us today.
You got it, Michael. So the end of the story first is that I believe that as insights leaders, we have both the opportunity and the obligation to push our businesses forward. So today I want to share some what I think are meaningful strategies for insights leaders and teams to move from merely uncovering data to really driving business action. And I'll leverage that book that you mentioned, my book called More Than Just Interesting, that published this summer. And really the core idea of that holistic writing is about, insights should be more than just interesting, and that they need to be actionable and impactful and really driving and shaping business strategies and ensuring that consumer-centric decisions are being made every day and in a way that lead to tangible business actions and results.
Why do you say obligation to drive the business forward?
Right. Well, as a member of a team or a member of a business, we're all here to push the business forward. And nobody, if you're in a for-profit business or even a non-for-profit, has the opportunity to kind of sit around and watch everyone else do the work. So as an insights professional, we're part of the team. We're part of the team, and as that team, we have the obligation, whether it's a for-profit or for shareholders, it's our job to push the business forward.
Right, absolutely. And I guess there's that intrinsic thing in there as well. Like we want to drive that business forward as well.
Absolutely. It's fun as well.
Yes, true. Your book, More Than Just Interesting, what led you to write that?
Yeah, you mentioned it in the beginning, Michael. I've been on a 20-year journey across my career, leading a corporate and client side insights team. So I've had the opportunity to work at really wonderful companies like General Mills and Ulta Beauty and Kohl's, and I've really seen firsthand how insights, when leveraged well, can transform a business. And my career began with this love of understanding of consumer behavior. And then over the years, I became passionate about not just discovering the insights, but really ensuring that they led to action. And the challenges that I've encountered, like connecting insights and decisions or gaining organizational alignment really compelled me to write the book. And there was one moment, Michael, that was like the defining moment for me. And truly, at one point I gave what I thought was this really powerful insights presentation. And I was like, all right, here we go. And leaving the meeting, someone said to me, oh, Elizabeth, that was really interesting. And I had that moment of like, oh no, I'm not here to be interesting. I am here to push this business forward. And that was really the impetus of the book. And so, I started talking about it, and I was giving this talk called Never Be Interesting. And people actually came. But I think the content was well received because as insights professionals, we kind of all have this intrinsic nature of like understanding consumers and being curious, but in a reason and a way that pushes our business forward. Like we're here as part of that business as well. So the book really gave me the opportunity to share frameworks and tools and some real world examples to empower insights professionals to drive real impact in their organizations.
Mm. Yeah, very nice. Yes, we don't want to be just interesting. Um,
Exactly.
so you mentioned your book emphasizes the idea of moving from insights to action. Why do you
Yeah.
think this shift is so crucial for insights teams today?
Yeah, well, today businesses operate in a very fast-paced, data-saturated environment. And it can be really easy in that world to be overwhelmed with information or to just have so much of it there that we don't know how to take meaningful action. So today, more than ever, insights teams need to demonstrate that we can tie what consumers need to business outcomes. And being part of a strategic decisions and creating a competitive advantage and ensuring that all of our resources are used effectively, that really pushes our businesses forward and it helps us look, look forward into the future. I think it's easy in this, data rich world to say, okay, what's happened? How can we look at, this things that are behind us? And I kind of think about it like this, Michael, like if we are all driving a car and we're all our whole team's in the car, as the insights lead, my job is to look around that car and say, what's happening around us? And I've got a couple of tools that I can use to do that. One is I can look in the rearview mirror, and that's a pretty great tool because it tells me where I've been and how I've gotten here, right? But I can also use the windshield. And the windshield will help me understand what's ahead, where we're going, what obstacles we'll face, and help us really navigate that path forward. And so while they're both, important tools, I think the size is also meaningful. So the rear mirror is, about this big. And the windshield, if you could see my hands on a podcast, is about this big, right? And so I think that our job is, today in this data rich world, to push our teams to look through that windshield. And that's our job to do it. And it's more important now than ever.
Yes, absolutely. So you make it clear that to be impactful, insights have to be tied to an action, and that action should be discussed before conducting discovery work. Deciding
Mhm.
on actions before research might seem counterintuitive to some, but why is this step essential to ensure that, I guess, that those insights are driving impact?
You're right. It can kind of feel like putting the cart before the horse if we think about it like that. But truly, defining the actions up front ensures that the insights discovery process is purposeful and aligned with our business goals. So starting with the action allows the insights team to prioritize relevant questions, methodologies, and deliverables. And that step really prevents wasted effort on insights that, while they might be interesting, are just that. Those that are just interesting and not really influencing decisions. So it's all about using resources effectively and ensuring organizations are prepared to act on their findings, which is really the ultimate measure of success for an insights function. And if you look at it from the flip side too, if you come up with a great insight, but the business has no way to take action on it, you've wasted time and resources. So if you focus your actions and your on what the business can do with that, you're really considering a way to set the organization up for success and really guarantee that your work and your insights will be used. So it's really all about creating a connection between an insight and an action because we want to make sure that insights really are the springboard to action. So we got to start right there with that action.
Yep. But you might also at the same time, you mentioned data, a lot of data floating around. There may be
Hmm.
existing data in the organization that can actually help you solve that question as well. So once again,
Yes.
you're saving resources or using them sustainably.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. There is no need to reinvent the wheel if we already have the answer, or, use what we have as a starting point so that when we go forward and discover more, we already are leveraging what we know.
That's right. For organizations building an insights function, what's the most important first step to make sure that teams set up to be impactful in the first place?
Yeah, the most important first step to create alignment between the insights function and the organization is to really align to the organization's strategic goals. And it involves identifying the key business decisions that insights should influence and really ensuring that there's buy-in from leadership on the role of the team, of the insights team, right? So if we focus on, finding and recruiting and developing professionals with the right skills in order to uncover the insights and communicate them effectively, we really start to set ourselves up for success.
Hmm. And have you seen many examples where the insights function is actually helping with that strategic positioning and vision?
Yeah, yeah. So I think that the insights team should absolutely have their own vision, and I think we'll talk about that in a few minutes
Yeah.
too. But yes, we should be intrinsically tied to the organization's priorities. So the priorities for the insights team are the priorities for the business, right? It kind of goes back into what actions are we going to take? Because if
Mm.
we're off discovering something that's separate of the business priorities, we'll know that whatever we discover likely won't have a use case. So yes, aligning to the organization's strategic goals should, 100% be first priority.
That's right. And there's so much societal change that's happening at the moment that it's a really important thing for the insights function to be feeding that through to leadership.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more.
Hmm. So you write about insights teams claiming their seat at the decision-making table. What strategies can they use to gain visibility and influence?
Yeah. Insights teams can really gain visibility by consistently delivering actionable findings that solve business problems, right? So, to influence effectively, we have to position ourselves as strategic partners. We're not just service providers, we are true business partners. And so, building strong relationships with cross functional teams and speaking the language of the business are ways that we can really showcase how we can have impact and also create this partnership, which is really essential for gaining that seat at the table. So, aligning to the business priorities we talked about was the first thing to do, but consistently delivering actionable findings will ensure that the business says, wait a minute, hold on, we can't go forward because insights isn't here if we're not at the table, right? We have to earn that seat and continue to earn that seat over and over again. And once you've done that, you can start to create advocates, for your insights team, folks that will say, hey, I see you have a business question. I had a lot of success leveraging the insights function. I think you should try that too. So you can earn it, you can create advocates, and you got to kind of continually do it over and over again.
Mm. Have you seen some form of hub that tends to work well? A place where different stakeholders can come and receive the various insights and the reporting that the insights team does?
Yeah, you're right. So, if we think about like enabling, I will call it, sometimes we call it like self-service of insights, right?
Mm.
What really, that's really about, giving everyone access to consumer data, right? There's a scary idea in my mind that's going, someone's making a decision without the information that I know. So I can't be hoarding it,
Yeah.
or saying, sure, call me and I'll get back to you in, 3 to 6 weeks, or whenever I can find your email or time to reply, right? We have to ensure that all of the business partners have the availability of insights and the access to them so that they can make decisions on whatever timeline is right for them. Sometimes you say knowledge is power. Well, then give everyone that power of giving them the knowledge.
Mm. No, that's very true. Um, so you also mentioned in the book, 9 critical skills for developing high-performing and excuse me, insights professionals. Could you highlight a few of these skills and why they matter?
Absolutely. You're right. I believe that there are 9 skills that insights professionals of all levels, all tenures must continue to hone in order to drive success for themselves and for their business. And I set it up like that because can anyone be great all the time at 9 things? Well, I don't know. I'm still working on a few of them, but if we're working on them, we should all be developing, continual self-development across and throughout our career. Okay. But if you're new to this field or even new to your role or your organization, I think the first one of those skills that you should consider is building partnerships because insights are not impactful in a vacuum. Building relationships with your business partners will do several things. First, it will help you understand their business, including, what hindrances they face in making decisions and how they make decisions. And knowing those things really enables you to build an insights plan that will uncover and share meaningful insights for that partner so that they can actually go ahead and take action on whatever you find out in your research plan. And additionally, if you build that partnership, you can build trust. And, some days you're going to have to deliver bad news. But if you've built trust and a true partnership, your partner is more likely to lean in, even when you have bad news to share. So it's really good, for delivering all types of information, all types of insights, good or bad. And it's really that a kind of a key connector in being impactful for the business.
Hmm.
The other core, oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, keep going.
Okay. The other core skill that I would highlight is proactive planning. As a function, it's really easy for us to kind of get caught up in something that I'll call like a deli counter style way of working. Pick a number and I'll get back to you when I call your number, okay? But, usually that doesn't always work. And neither does hey, thanks for reaching out. I'll get back to you in 12 weeks after I go through this really big research plan. That's cool, right? That's not going to cut it. Neither one of those things are going to cut it these days. So one of the ways that you make sure that your work is, not just interesting, but actually impactful is really aligning your work to the priorities of the business we talked about, including the timing of the business cycle. So if you know when the key decisions are going to be made, you can conduct high quality and insights discovery process ahead of time. And that proactive planning will ensure that you have high quality insights and that they are able to be delivered to the business at a time when the business is able to act on them. So those are 2 of my 9. And Michael, if any of your listeners are wanting to know more, I do cover all 9 in the book, More Than Just Interesting. And because they are so incredibly valuable, for personal and business success, I actually built out some frameworks for using those 9 core skills to evaluate, yourself and your team, to write individual development plans and even to recruit for a high performing insights leader. So if anybody listening, wants to reach out to me on LinkedIn, I can help you get a hold of those frameworks.
Cool.
Yeah.
So as an insights leader in major companies like General Mills, for instance, can you share what builds a well-functioning insights team? What the building blocks might be to making significant business impact as well?
Great question, Michael. There are really 2 things that anyone building an insights function should put into place right away. And the first is a vision. I knew you were going to ask me about this, so holding the idea on vision till just this moment. But a vision really sets direction for those following the vision and those directly impacted by it. So you need to build and share or announce a vision for your team in a way that it can do 2 things. One, it can rally the team to do their best work, and it can motivate your business partners to really lean into the talents of your team. And if you do it in a way where you have a vision that is both inspirational and aspirational, that will take you a long way. An inspirational thing is something that everyone's like, "Ooh, let's lean in." Aspirational makes them all do their best work. So if you have passion and you have talent, where that intersection happens, you're going to do your best work. And a vision is one of those ways of really driving everyone towards that intersection. So
Mm.
I have mentioned two things. The other thing that you'll need to go with your vision is a plan to bring it to life. And the plan should be very clear for your team, telling them how they need to show up in order to deliver that vision, right? It should also be very clear for your business partners as to what they can expect from you and your team. This plan cannot be and tomorrow you can expect this kind of plan. It really needs to be one where you are saying where you are today and where you hope to be in 3 to 5 years. And the right plan will create both specific action steps for you to achieve your vision and measurable outcomes to know when you're certain that you're there.
That
So a
sound
vision and a plan.
that sounds smart.
Thank you.
So we talked about building blocks just before, which is a really good segue into this next question, which is something close to our heart as well, and as a family anyway. Lego, a standout example of consumer centricity that you mentioned in your book. What can other brands learn from Lego's approach to understanding and delighting customers?
Yeah, well, I agree with you, Michael. That we're big fans here in our house here as well. But also, just from looking at the business, I'm a really big fan of how insights is impacting their business. And really, I think they are a true example of consumer centricity. So Lego excels by really deeply understanding its consumers and even co-creating with them. They actively engage customers through platforms like Lego Ideas, where
Mm.
fans can contribute to product ideas and they can continually test and iterate based on feedback. So can you think of anything more consumer centric than testing and iterating with your consumers? So I think lots of brands can learn from Lego's commitment to listening to their audience, like fostering a sense of community and ensuring that every product reflects customers' desires and imaginations, even in this case. And I think it all comes to life really seamlessly for their customers. From a customer experience standpoint, Lego has doubled down on physical store experiences. And it makes sense because that's a physical experience to play or build with a Lego. So if you're a fan, I think, this plays out in a really big way. As an example, when you travel to any new city across the globe, right? You have a reason to stop in if there's a Lego store. And that's because the brand that you love has created, a unique, memorable experience that you can only have in that city. So it's something that's special for the customer, but it's also important for the business. It's providing customers a reason to visit, so it's driving foot traffic and sales. Now that is true consumer centricity impacting a business. And I can tell you, the Lego version of the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona was
Oh.
definitely both unique to that location and the reason to visit. So I just, experienced on that one. But, I think that they have built products and experiences that recognize generations of fans. And so from a fan standpoint, you can find products that are right for you, if you're 3 or 99 or older or younger than that even. Or if you love princesses or intergalactic space travel. I think they have products and experiences that showcase both that they know their consumer and also what drives their business. So from an outsider's point of view, I think it's a win-win.
That's right. And yeah, that's one of the things that we've invested in as parents, Lego, because yes, we love making the sets straight out of the box, but then we're also happy to see those sets get slowly added to, demolished, and then rebuilt and turned into something else. The creativity with it is great, and it's also really amazing seeing that come through in their advertising as well.
Yeah,
Some of the print ads that they do that just showcase there's small little ideas or big ideas, but in small ways. So,
absolutely.
um,
I couldn't agree more.
mm. So sometimes the best decision is not launching a product, not taking an action. Like if you're an insights function that's working with your comms team, not saying anything or saying something. So what can other brands learn from, sorry, how can organizations better showcase these hidden wins to highlight the value of their insights teams?
Yeah, you're right. Exactly spot on, Michael. Sometimes the right decision is to say no action on this case. And I think, as you could, as an organization, you can, showcase these wins by quantifying the resources saved, whether it's time or money or market share losses from not pursuing a misguided opportunity. And case studies, that highlight how insights prevented poor investments can be really powerful tools. And celebrating them, internally as strategic success moments really reinforces the value of the insights function and being a critical decision-making partner. So I can give you an example because, not I mentioned before, you don't always get to deliver good news, right? But if you have a partnership, the partner will lean in. And so one time when I was working for General Mills, I was on the Progresso business. And the scientists had developed a really incredible frozen soup product. I mean, this was delicious. We even did some product testing, and consumers were like, "Yeah, we love it." So we put this frozen soup product on the shelf in a club store. So we put out, and we were, standing in the aisle and watching consumers as they would look at it and keep moving, or pick it up and put it back on the shelf. This is a kind of a test market, one store test. And we started to ask consumers because we knew when we let them taste it, they loved it. But when it was on the shelf, they kept putting it back. And so what we found was, hey, we had made chicken noodle soup, and people love chicken noodle soup, and the product
Hmm.
was delicious. But for them, either they could make it at home or the canned version was good enough. And so there wasn't a reason, if we think about that club size, which is a huge giant pack that takes a lot of space in your freezer and has a really high price point, wasn't the right way to deliver this product to the market. So we had the wrong flavor in the wrong size at the wrong place. And so we came back to the business and said, hey, there's something right here, but not in this way. And so we ended up not launching that product, and it really was the right decision for the business. And most consumers will never know that we had that, them in mind with the product team. But their decision didn't, allow us to do what was right for the business. So, even though it was hidden from sight, kind of as you mentioned, it was a choice that really balanced the desires of consumers and the needs of the business. And so it was one that we celebrated, even though it was a no-go decision, because it was that perfect balance of what consumers were asking for and what was right for the business. And those business partners even became the ones that were advocating for further leaning into the insights team.
Hmm. Nice. So looking ahead, how
Yeah.
do you see the role of insights evolving in the next 5 to 10 years? I guess especially with the advancements of AI and data analytics.
Yeah, I love this question because I think that this means that we're going to do our roles in new ways with new tools, but our role is going to be even more important. So, AI can help us collect and synthesize data, but our job as a consumer insights professional is to keep the human at the center, right? So we should absolutely use AI as a tool to help us handle large volumes of data and to create and synthesize stories. We can use it as a tool, but we still need, as insights professionals, to be strategic advisors that grow and help the business, rely and build for human needs. So it's a rapidly changing landscape, and we have to understand the humans behind all of the new choices and options that they have. And so we have to be ready. Our jobs are only going to get to be more important. And as I said earlier, I think I really do believe that we have both the opportunity and the obligation to push our businesses forward.
Mm. Yeah, a lot of people like to comment on we bring the context to a lot of what the outputs of AI, etc. So we know like so much more around the business, and it's our job to know the consumer, the business, the macroeconomic trends, etc. that's happening, and then we can bring that lens to what it's producing, and then iterate on that as well.
Absolutely. We have to help with the inputs in the AI as well as understanding the outputs both. Couldn't agree more.
Yes. So any final things you wanted to mention on insights, impact, and consumers?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Michael. I'm just really passionate. I don't know if you can tell about, this industry that we're in, and really making sure that we take the opportunity to push the businesses forward, and that we are, having fun in our jobs, making a difference, but really being more than just interesting and really pushing forward all of our businesses. Let's all look through the windshield. Let's all think about how to use AI as a tool. Let's all build partnerships, and let's all push forward the industry.
So to make sure that this podcast is more than just interesting, how might someone be able to find your book?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. You can find it on Amazon. You'll find it right there. More than just interesting: how to build an insights function for impact.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the show today, Elizabeth.
Thank you for having me, Michael.
That's right. And thank you to everyone else who's listened into the podcast as well. If you have enjoyed what you've heard, then feel free to look up that book and purchase on Amazon. Also, you're welcome to share this podcast with someone else who may find it interesting. Leave a review or subscribe to the podcast too. Until next time, thanks for listening to Now That's Significant.